Do I have that right that you played for Bob Dylan, or you do, or are you in the
He
band?
was that up and coming songwriter I was talking about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was for the Ronald Reagan movie soundtrack. So I'm just playing little brushes on there. But yeah, I was in the what is it, the Never Ending Tour for a year and a half. So I came in after Charlie Drayton, and then when I left, he got Jim Keltner. So like for me, I was like, man, that's cool to be, you know, like those are two names that I grew up like knowing about, you know, and the reception was fairly well.
How did that come about? Tell me the story.
Man, I'm sworn to secrecy.
Well, yeah, whatever you can.
But I got a call from management, and I thought it was a joke. I really did. I was like,
yeah, I mean, it is.
Nobody from Bob Dylan's calling me. So I went on about I haven't really told this story much. I, you know, like a few friends, but I've never really said it on air. So it's the 30th. It's December 30th, and we're getting ready to have Old Crow's New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve shows at the Ryman. And I get that call, and I was like, I'm getting ready. I'm packing my stuff up for the Ryman. I'm like, I don't have time for jokes. So I go to Ryman, I play the show. I get a call again the next day, and it was like, hey, we just, you know, like so I answered this time. It was like, just wanted to, you know, make sure you got the call and the message yesterday, and like to see if you'd be interested in joining Bob Dylan's band in 2023, going out on tour. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah. You know, it was like, I mean, yeah, I'm clearly interested. He was like, great. That's all I need to know. He was like, just wait for further instructions. Don't mention this to anybody. And I was like, kind of weird as shit. Yeah. You know? But yeah. So, and my wife was in the room at the time. And so she's looking at me kind of like, what was that? And I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I think I just played my last Ryman show with Old Crow, and like I didn't know how to feel about it, you know, like the feelings were very confusing, and so like I went to the Ryman, and you know, like nothing was different, and I was just sitting there thinking in my head, I was like, I'm just trying to process it, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, like, still feels like a joke. Like I thought maybe my ex-girlfriend had put somebody up to it or something like that. Like it just felt like it didn't feel right. So I was like, man, not even sweating anymore. I'm gonna go on about my business. So, you know, like we've recorded a record. They got nominated for Grammy. You know, like things are going well, you know, like we're planning the tour, getting the album artwork, all this stuff together. And the call finally comes in, and it's like, all right, so Bob would like for you to be in LA on these dates for rehearsal, and these are the tour dates. First tour's in Japan. It's this long, you know, this is blah, blah, blah. You'll go out, you'll have one practice. If they like what they see, you can keep going. If they don't, then you'll just go back to Nashville. And so like now all of a sudden it's like real, you know? So I was like, wow, okay. All right. And so now I have to start like putting all the other stuff together. So
they give you a song list to learn?
He said all he's been doing is his new record. And he was like, so, you know, yeah, he's just been doing a new record, and but don't try to learn any of it. Just show up and respond. And I was like, okay, cool. So, but like to me, you know, and they're still like, don't tell anybody. So, to me, I'm like, all right, well, first things first, sit down with Old Crow. Figure out what's going on. Will it work? Will it all work together? Because my intentions were never to leave the band. My intentions were to try to do both, make it work. And Ketch just like laughed, and he was like, dude, they don't call it the Never Ending Tour for a reason. Like, you can't do both. Like you know, like you just, you know, so it was mixed feelings. Like, we're happy for you, but we're upset, you know, like this is great, but like also like,
bummer,
we're in the middle of a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, like when they, sorry, I got something in my eye. When they started, you know, auditioning other people and, you know, whatnot, I was super supportive. I was like, whatever you need from me, if I need to help somebody with, you know, like count-ins, break down, you know, like what I've been doing, whatnot. But like, they kind of just wanted to handle it on their own. It was a little touch and go. And I was like, I get it. But yeah, like that was and then my mindset moved straight to like, okay, well, they're finding their replacement. how do you pack for 1 day or 3.5 weeks, you know? So then my mindset immediately switched to, I'm packing for 3.5 weeks. I'm not coming back. Like, that's what I literally told my wife. I said, I'm not coming back. I was like, I'm going to Japan. That's just where we're at. And so they were like, okay, so now that's where I'm at in my mind. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's get ready for Japan. And these songs that I don't know.
You go to the audition. Were you like shitting bricks to go to the audition? Were you feeling pretty ice?
No, I was, I felt like, you know, everything musically that I'd done up to that point had led me there, you know, like it was, it might not have been the gig that I always wanted, but it was, you know, like it was the level of, you know, and, I remember just, thinking to myself, this is where Steve Jordan, I remember me and him were hanging out one night and he was like, man, you are where you're supposed to be. You know, like there's no like coincidences, no like this is chance. It's like you are where you're supposed to be. So like that's kind of what was going through my head. I was like, I'm supposed to be here, you know. So like musically, they saw something in me that, you know, that made sense.
And who saw something? Did you ever find out?
I mean, yes, but you know, like I said, I'm sworn to secrecy on how like the rest of, I got to save something, you know, so
for the memoir.
Cause I said, I don't normally ever talk about any of this stuff. It's just, you know, like to me, it's honestly, it's been so long since, I left the band that it doesn't even, you know, like it's like a blimp, like it feels like it never even happened.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like I did do that for like almost 2 years.
I mean,
like,
is there a
year and
Dylan
half,
story
whatever
you could share, like just from that tour, or? I mean, not for me, but you know, just for.
I mean, I got enough to write a book. And maybe
exactly. I was like, give us one, you know. Like, is he really as eccentric as, you know, it seems?
Oh, he's the dude that you, you know, that everybody thinks he is. He's mysterious. And, you know, so there was one, we were going through a sound check and we were trying to figure out this song. Man, I don't know. I got the biggest eyelash in my eye. Apologies.
Beauty can be a curse.
What's that?
Beauty can be a curse.
Beauty can be a curse, man. But anyway. We were going through the sound check, trying to figure it out for a show. And I jumped ahead he was like kind of hanging on a part, and I jumped ahead to the chorus because I thought he was going to go there. He turned around and he was like, JP, I'm not there yet. You got to wait, man. You got to wait. And I was like, all right. I was like, fair enough. Like, you know, so like we got there, and then it, like what I was playing wasn't right. So like we stopped and, you know, like I remember just being like, hey, so Bob, what do you hear right there? He just ignored me. And I was like, all right, well, that's not good. And we went over it again. And, you know, like I played something different. And it was like, you know, kind of in the ballpark of what I thought like made sense right there. And then we get done. We're, you know, like we don't have the song together. And he gets up and he walks away. He turns around, he goes, don't ask me what I want to hear. I don't fucking know, but I know when I hear it. He walked away. That was it. And I was like, okay. Great. All right. And when we played the song, it went off and it was great. Yeah. And, you know, and like everybody was like stoked about it and the way it happened and it went down. But yeah, like I remember at that time, I was just like, yeah, that was stupid. Why did I ask him that? But, you know, like I didn't know, you know. Yeah. So, and I think I was like 2 or 3 months in at that point. So, just trying to figure it out. But, yeah. So.
Dream gig, man. Yeah. I can't wait for the memoir.
Oh, yeah. You know, like you know, maybe I don't write a book. I don't know. I mean, like to me, like they're just stories. They're like urban legends, you know. Like I remember in that time, what was the most annoying was that people were never writing about, there were some people that were like raving about the things that I was doing in that band, the way that I was playing, you know, like whatever. But, and then there were some people that were like, he looks like an alien with those white glasses. And I'm like, and that's all they would say. And I was like, you don't want to care to talk about the music or like what's going on, you know, like, but anyway, so, It was an interesting time. I think the hardest time though was, like those tours just got longer and longer. First one was 3.5 weeks. The next one was 6.5 weeks. The last one we did that year was 10.5 weeks. It's a long time to be gone from your wife. No break. So
10.5 weeks.
10.5 weeks. So, and I did in that
so
time
hard.
period, I did rent a car. We played 2 shows in Cincinnati. I can't remember which one was on which side. We either played 2 shows in Cincinnati, had 2 days off, and then played 2 shows in Indianapolis. And I rented a car, drove home, spent those 2 days with my family, and then drove back the next morning. But like that was, and that was about 3 weeks into that 10.5 week tour, because obviously the longer you go on tour, the further and further you go away. I mean, I think we went all the way up to Vermont or something. Mm-hmm. So, and then at that point, like we weren't that far removed from the pandemic. So like I think most managers are like, no, you're not flying, or, like you're not doing anything. Like you're
for risk.
If you can, if you're going to go somewhere, you can go a couple hours away and you'd be responsible for renting a car and come back. But like, I never got any clearance from anybody like that. I'm just used to, like figuring those things out. One year we had a day off in LA, and I was like, I came on the bus and I said, I'm renting a car and I'm going to Disneyland. Anybody wants to go, you can come with me, but that's what I'm doing today. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've figured out all the logistics for myself, and I came back with Mickey ears. It was great. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I laugh like a kid, man. I never, because I grew up.
That's the childhood
like
dream again.
I never had a
back.
childhood like that, So, and I, there's a lot of it for me that's, I'm like, I want to be able to give those things to, like to my kids. Not that I'm regretful that I didn't have them, but and I definitely don't want to be one of those parents that's like, I want to give them everything I never had. It's just, like right now it seems like time is what they need. So, I have 2 great gigs that give me a little bit more time, and it's great. I need to be at home right now. And that's kind of how it was when I left the band. I was like, I need to be at home. So I didn't take any gigs for the summer. I didn't take the Solo Asylum gig came up in the fall. But I was like, yeah, I need to be at home right now. So that's what I did. I stayed at home, and my wife appreciated it, the girls. And then they got to the point to where they started telling me they didn't want me to leave anymore. Daddy, do you have to go to work? And I'm like, it's only going to go worse from here on out. So I had that same thing this morning. I dropped them off. I was like, I'm running late for work. And they're like, so you're leaving again? I'm like, I'm not leaving, just working in town.